What's up everybody, it's your boy Corey. I just wanted to bring you guys this. Ubisoft is turning 30. They've been releasing games for free the last couple months apparently. Last month I got Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon for free. I'm pretty sure I made a video about it. If I didn't, I'm sorry, but at least I'm bringing you this one. Assassin's Creed 3 is free right now as long as you have a Uplay account. This is only for PC. If you have a Uplay account, go log in and you can get the game under the UB30 tab. If you don't, sign up for a Uplay account, and as long as your PC is from the last 5 or 6 years, it should be able to play it as long as it was a decent PC, because you gotta remember this game came out like 6 years ago or something like that, so you don't need the most beastly PC to run this at decent settings and a decent frame rate. So even my computer can run this at 1080p 60 frames per second and it barely feels it. So remember to do that. Also guys, remember I have a Twitter account at @TheShadyGaming, so please remember to go there. Now let's get into the video. What's up everybody, it's your boy Corey, and I'm sure you've heard by now that the Nintendo Switch was on the Late Show with Jimmy Fallon. He was losing his mind. I was super jealous because I really just want to get my hands on the Switch just to see if it's a good console or it's just a gimmick that they're trying to push on everybody again. Because while I want Nintendo to do well, they always seem to want to do gimmicks instead of just make a really good console, and it annoys me because if they made a really good console with third-party support, they might be able to just make Microsoft go away and Sony would be on their last legs, because Microsoft this generation, while they're still on pace like they were on with the Xbox 360, they were expecting to do a lot better than they are. PS4 is doing really well. That's the only reason I say that Nintendo probably couldn't just push Sony out of the way, but they could push Microsoft out of the console business if they were to like really get their act together and have third-party support. Honestly, that's how I feel. And they were playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the show, and as far as I know, this is the first time anyone's seen the Switch publicly, the Switch play Legend of Zelda. I'm sure they've had people play it, even YouTubers or whoever they think are influencers play it on the Switch. They just haven't publicly announced it or shown it, so that is amazing. You can't really tell with the home console part in the video because they're not capturing it through a capture card. They're just shooting a camera onto the screens that they were using, and those screens probably aren't made to play video games, so they're probably not the best ones to use or even decent to use for video gaming picture wise. Also, it kind of just looked like crap. It just looked washed out, and that's why I'm not gonna judge the home console part. But the handheld part, even though even that was kind of washed out just by the studio lights above it, you could watch it as he turned it, because he wouldn't keep the Switch still. He would like move it in angles, and I don't know if he meant to do that, you know, to get people a real look at what the screen actually will be like, but he did a good job if you didn't know, because like at angles you're trying to see if the console loses any picture quality or if the colors shift, but I didn't see any of that. But now most likely you're gonna have this directly in front of you, but if you're playing with a friend, you might be at an angle on it, so you want that picture to stay the same, and as far as I know, IPS does the best at that. So I think this might be an IPS screen, which, while it's only 720p, an IPS screen is very good. It gives a lot of color, and it just doesn't let a game look washed out, even though it's 720p and all of that. So like I'm hopeful for the handheld. Now, the reason why I brought up third-party support is maybe they're actually gonna get some. because From Software, the guys behind Dark Souls, excuse me, Dark Souls 3, they got it running on the Switch. From sources, apparently they got it to work to their satisfaction, like, which means they at least got it running 30 frames per second, because that's what they targeted with the base PS4 and Xbox One, is that they wanted to hit 30 frames per second. I don't remember if, I know PS4 was 1080p, I don't remember if Xbox One was 1080p. I think that might have been 900p. They did not, the sources did not say what the Switch was running at. 720p would probably be a downer, but it might be the case just because the handheld part is also 720p, and I don't know if they would have it to where the game switches resolutions when you take it off the dock. They might, and as long as it's like within striking range, like if it's 900p and PS4 and Xbox One are 1080p, or Xbox One might be 900p, I'm not sure about that. But if it's right there with them, at least they're in the fight. You know, they're at competitive. And if it's running at 30 frames per second, this is a new gen game. Like, this is this generation gaming. It's not last gen. So I doubt it has a Tegra X1, because that could run games at 1080p 30 frames per second easily from last gen, like Grand Theft Auto 4 and those type of games. While they look great, they were last gen. The engines were different. It didn't take as many resources. So, like, while that chip can do 1080p 30 frames, it was last gen games with last gen graphics. If this Switch can run this generation of graphics at 1080p 30 frames per second, while yes, it's not 60 frames, honestly, Nintendo might have hit a slam dunk with this. So, like, I'm gonna be optimistic until they prove me wrong, honestly. But I think this March I'm gonna get myself a Nintendo Switch